Stephen Edwin King was born in Portland, Maine in 1947, the second son of Donald and Nellie Ruth Pillsbury King. After his parents separated when Stephen was a toddler, he and his older brother, David, were raised by his mother. Parts of his childhood were spent in Fort Wayne, Indiana, where his father's family was at the time, and in Stratford, Connecticut. When Stephen was 11, his mother brought her children back to Durham, Maine, for good. Her parents, Guy and Nellie Pillsbury, had become incapacitated with old age, and Ruth King was persuaded by her sisters to take over the physical care of the elderly couple. Other family members provided a small house in Durham and financial support. After Stephen's grandparents passed away, Mrs. King found work in the kitchens of Pineland, a nearby residential facility for the mentally challenged. In the fall of 1971, Stephen began teaching high school English classes at Hampton Academy, the public high school in Hampton, Maine. Writing in the evenings and on the weekends, he continued to produce short stories and to work on novels. In the spring of 1973, Doubleday and Company accepted the Novelcara for publication. On Mother's Day of that year, Stephen learned from his new editor at Doubleday, Bill Thompson, that a major paperback sale would provide him with the means to leave teaching and write full-time. At the end of the summer of 1973, the Kings moved their growing family to southern Maine because of Stephen's mother's failing health. Renting a summer home on Sebago Lake in North Windham for the winter, Stephen wrote his next published novel, originally titled Second Coming and then Jerusalem's Lot, before it became Salem's Lot, in a small room in the garage. During this period, Stephen's mother died of cancer, at the age of 59. Stephen King is the author of more than 50 books, all of them worldwide bestsellers. His recent work includes The Outsider, Sleeping Beauties, co-written with his son Owen King, the short story collection The Bazaar of Bad Dreams, the Bill Hodges Trilogy End of Watch, Finders Keepers, and Mr. Mercedes, an Edgar Award winner for Best Novel and now an AT&T Audience Network original television series, Dr. Sleep, and Under the Dome. His novel November 22, 1963, a Hulu original television series Event, was named a top 10 book of 2011 by the New York Times Book Review and won the Los Angeles Times Book Prize for Mystery/Thriller. His epic works The Dark Tower and It are the basis for major motion pictures. He is the recipient of the 2018 PEN America Literary Service Award, the 2014 National Medal of Arts, and the 2003 National Book Foundation Medal for Distinguished Contribution to American Letters. He lives in Bangor, Maine, with his wife, novelist Tabitha King. Stephen King is the author of more than 50 books, all of them worldwide bestsellers. His recent work includes The Outsider, Sleeping Beauties, co-written with his son Owen King, the short story collection The Bazaar of Bad Dreams, the Bill Hodges Trilogy End of Watch, Finders Keepers, and Mr. Mercedes, an Edgar Award winner for Best Novel and now an AT&T Audience Network original television series, Dr. Sleep, and Under the Dome. His novel November 22, 1963, a Hulu original television series Event, was named a top 10 book of 2011 by the New York Times Book Review and won the Los Angeles Times Book Prize for Mystery/Thriller. His epic works The Dark Tower and It are the basis for major motion pictures. He is the recipient of the 2018 PEN America Literary Service Award, the 2014 National Medal of Arts, and the 2003 National Book Foundation Medal for Distinguished Contribution to American Letters. He lives in Bangor, Maine, with his wife, novelist Tabitha King. A small Oklahoma city is thrown into chaos when a little boy is found brutally murdered and a beloved public figure is thought to be the killer. It was the most horrific crime scene that Oklahoma detective Ralph Anderson had seen in his more than 2 decades on the job. Frank Peterson, a young boy known throughout the small town of Flint, was found in a wooded area with multiple gruesome injuries, including tree branches sticking out of his corpse. Thick pools of blood had formed beneath the body, with arterial spray coating the tree branches and nearby foliage. The person behind the heinous act left DNA and fingerprints at the scene of the crime. Additionally, multiple eyewitnesses saw the man with the boy moments before little Frank was savagely beaten and killed. All the evidence points to just one man, a local good guy by the name of Terry Maitland. A respected teacher and longtime Little League coach who'd helped countless young boys reach their potential on the diamond. Maitland's actions stunned Ralph Anderson, who chose to arrest the coach in front of nearly 2,000 locals during the ninth inning of a Little League playoff game on a hot July night. The crowd, like the rest of the city, was stunned by Maitland's arrest. Most, including Terry's wife and their 2 girls, sat and watched in jaw-dropping horror as the adored coach was handcuffed and hauled away. Disgusted by the crime and the fact that his son had once played on Terry's team, Anderson intentionally made a spectacle out of arresting Maitland. The town deserved to know about the monster walking among them, he figured. And besides, the case was airtight. King throws his first sweeping curveball when Detective Anderson and the local prosecutors see their impenetrable case suddenly begin to show signs of cracking. They have his DNA and prints at the scene, and a handful of people saw the coach either just prior to or just after the boy's death, covered from head to toe in blood. How, then, is it possible that physical evidence also places Maitland hours away with a group of English teachers at a literary conference headlined by one of today's best-selling thriller novelists? As Anderson tries to knock down Maitland's alibi, he instead finds more indisputable evidence that the coach was, in fact, out of town when Frank was murdered. Clearly, a person cannot be in 2 places at once, so the question is, did Terry Maitland commit the perfect crime? Or is there another evil lurking behind the scenes that nobody's noticed? Stephen King shows yet again why he's one of America's most beloved storytellers. He's done it all throughout his brilliant career, but the famous writer still has a few tricks up his sleeve, and he opens this book by fooling readers into thinking The Outsider is a police procedural written with the same grittiness as Don Winslow's The Force. King does a convincing job too, slowly revealing the ins and outs of the murder case in a way that's very Michael Connelly-esque, before ripping the rug out from under readers' feet and thrusting them into the kind of haunting plot that Stephen King is so well known for. A story that only he can pull off.